You know, when you think of India, it's so easy to just picture one thing, right? But the reality is, wow, it's a subcontinent with this incredible, staggering physical diversity. We're talking about a land that holds some of the planet's highest mountains, most fertile plains, oldest plateaus, and stunning coastlines, all packed into one single nation. Okay, let's dive into this amazing geographical story. So, how do you even begin to make sense of all that variety? Well, geographers have broken it down for us. They've divided India into 6 major physiographic zones, and you can see them here on this map. Each color represents a totally different landscape with its own unique story to tell. We're going to start our tour way, way up in the far north. Our first stop is the Himalayas. I mean, just saying the name conjures up these images of colossal, snow-covered peaks, doesn't it? But here's the thing, it's so much more than just a mountain range. It is a massive natural barrier that has literally shaped the climate, the culture, and the entire history of the subcontinent. And the scale, it's just staggering. I mean, look at this map. The Himalayas form this incredible arc across the top of India for about 2,400 kilometers. That's a huge distance. This isn't just a line of mountains. It's a gigantic wall separating the whole subcontinent from the Tibetan Plateau and Central Asia. A truly formidable and, let's be honest, breathtaking frontier. And if you really want to wrap your head around that scale, just look at this number, 8,848 meters. That's the height of its most famous resident, right? Mount Everest, the highest point on our planet. And get this, it's just one of a whole family of peaks in this range that soar over 8,000 meters into the sky. Just incredible. But what's really cool is that the Himalayas aren't just one solid wall. Think of it more like 3 distinct layers, or ranges, running parallel to each other. Way up north, you've got the Great Himalayas, or the Himadri. Those are the giants, the ones we all picture, always capped in snow. Then you move south a bit, and you hit the Lesser Himalayas. These are a bit gentler, known for their lush forests and those famous hill stations like Shimla. And finally, you get to the Outer Himalayas, or the Siwaliks. These are the rugged foothills that kind of ease you down into the vast plains below. It's like a 3-step journey from the roof of the world. So yeah, they're a massive barrier, but their most crucial role might be something else entirely. All those glaciers and snowfields, they're the source for the great rivers of the subcontinent. We're talking the Indus, the Ganges, and the Brahmaputra. The Himalayas are, quite literally, the water tower of Asia. They're the lifeline that sustains hundreds of millions of people. Okay, so that leads us perfectly into our next region. As those mighty Himalayan rivers flow south, they're not just carrying water, they're carrying enormous amounts of sediment. And over millions of years, all that sediment has created our second major zone, the Great Northern Plains. Vast, flat, and unbelievably fertile. And the architects of this fertile heartland? Well, they're 3 legendary river systems, the Indus, the Ganges, and the Brahmaputra. You can see their paths right here, snaking down from the mountains. And as they go, they drop off all this nutrient-rich alluvial soil across this huge area. It's this constant delivery of new soil that has turned this region into one of the most productive breadbaskets on the entire planet. But again, it's not quite that simple. These plains aren't just one big flat sheet of land. As you move south from the mountains, the landscape actually changes in 4 distinct belts. Right at the foothills, you hit the Babar. It's this porous, rocky strip where small streams literally just disappear underground. Kind of weird, right? Well, they pop back up further south in the Terai, which creates this marshy, super dense forested area. Beyond that, you've got the Bongar, a higher terrace made of older soil, and then finally you get to the Kadar. This is the good stuff, the active floodplain of the rivers, getting a fresh, super fertile top-up every single year. And this cross-section really helps you visualize it, see? The journey starts in the Himalayas, the water flows down, disappears into that porous Babar, pops back up in the marshy Terai, then you've got that older Bungar terrace, before it all settles in the super fertile Kadar floodplain. It's just a beautifully logical, natural system of how land gets made. All right, let's head south. We're leaving the geologically young mountains and their plains behind, and we're about to encounter something ancient, much, much older. This is the Peninsular Plateau, a massive tableland that forms the stable, old-as-the-hills core of the Indian subcontinent. Now, when you hear plateau, you might just picture one big flat area, but it's actually a whole collection of smaller plateaus. You've probably heard of the Deccan Plateau or the Malwa Plateau. And it's framed by 2 really important mountain ranges, the Western and Eastern Ghats, which form these raised edges running right down the coasts. The geology here is just mind-blowing. We're talking about some of the oldest rocks on Earth. And because they're so old, this region is an absolute treasure trove of mineral resources, iron ore, coal, you name it. A really unique feature here are the Deccan Traps. These are huge layers of volcanic rock from a time way back when of just intense lava flows. And as that volcanic rock has broken down over millions of years, it's created this famous black soil, which is incredibly fertile and absolutely perfect for growing cotton. Okay, we're on the home stretch. Let's explore the final 3 zones that really complete the picture of India's diverse landscape. We're talking the coastal plains, the Great Desert, and the 2 very different island groups. These are the edges of the subcontinent, where the land meets the sea and the dry, arid interior. Okay, so India's 2 coasts, they couldn't be more different. On the west, you have a narrow, kind of rugged strip of land. It's perfect for deep, natural harbors, and it's where rivers meet the sea in these deep inlets called estuaries. Now flip over to the eastern coast. It's much broader, much gentler. Here, the rivers don't rush into the sea, they spread out, forming these massive, fertile deltas, huge triangular plains of silt that are just ideal for farming. And now for something completely different. Head to the northwest and you find a total contrast to those lush coasts, the Thar Desert. Also known as the Great Indian Desert, this place is an arid world of rolling sand dunes and pretty sparse vegetation. But don't let that fool you. Even in these harsh conditions, it's a vibrant landscape with its own unique ecosystem and a kind of stark, compelling beauty. And last but not least, we've got the islands. And again, 2 totally different stories. Over in the Bay of Bengal, you have the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. These are actually the submerged peaks of a volcanic mountain range, and they're covered in this dense tropical rainforest. Then hop over to the Arabian Sea, and you find the Lakshadweep Islands. No volcanoes here. These are coral atolls, those classic ring-shaped reefs formed from coral, creating these stunning, low-lying islands that are famous for their gorgeous lagoons. Whew! Okay, after that whirlwind tour, let's just take a breath and bring it all together. From the highest peaks on Earth to the lowest plains, from ancient rock to new islands, you can see that India's geography is this incredibly complex and beautiful tapestry. I think the #1 takeaway here has to be the sheer variety, right? Every single region we've looked at has its own distinct personality, and it's all been shaped by these unbelievably powerful geological forces. This incredible diversity isn't just a random collection of different landscapes. It's the physical stage on which India's entire history and culture have played out. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. When you look at all this immense variety, you just have to ask, right? How does a nation's physical landscape, its mountains giving water, its plains providing food, its coasts opening up trade, how does all of that ultimately shape the destiny of its people? It's something to really chew on.